Why don't we start it like this?
Win a conference championship if you score in all likelihood. And perhaps the CFP. Jackson trying to turn the corner, and he did not get there. Jaron McVay raced him to the pylon and made sure he came up inches short. No question about the call. He didn't get to the pylon. McVay in his 59th career game for Baylor with one of the big plays in the history of their football program.
The duo. The duo. The duo. The duo.
Episode 69 of the Duo Sports and Stuff podcast. My name is Deonte, joined by Dane Beasley, my ace, my guy, Dane. I promise you, this is not turning into the Baylor Sports podcast.
Just the hell it is.
I promise you.
It wasn't in the note. Correction. It was at the top of the notes to talk about the Big 12 title game. So I expected that much. But to introduce the audio before our normal introduction is just a bit flamboyant, over the top, excessive.
Why not?
Flagrant.
Why not? Russell Westbrook, why not? Big 12 champs, man. You know I'm gonna talk my talk. Like, you didn't expect anything less of me, right? Do you know me?
I now expect less of you.
Oh man, I had to do it with my guy Dane. How you doing this evening, my dude?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. Some pretty good things in the works. So I'm very excited, very appreciative, and just overall glad to be here another week to talk to you, to talk to the homies that are listening or watching, and then even the homies that are listening or watching weeks late. Because I'm sure that this is, with this being episode 69, recorded on December 8th. Yeah, recorded on December 8th. I'm sure there will be plenty of people that are listening to this for the first time in 2022. Possibly some folks listening for the first time in 2023. So I'm appreciating everybody rocking with us, and I'm just glad to be here. How about you, man? How was your Wednesday?
Yeah, Wednesday was great, man. Just taking it day by day. We talk often about the work life and things that we're trying to get through. Just one of those days, but stay positive and pushing towards Christmas break. And so I'm looking forward to that in a week and a half, and also next week, Spider-Man No Way Home. It's gonna be amazing. But yeah, man, just ready to sit down and pod with you. What we got on deck for episode 69 of the Duo Sports and Stuff podcast. Like I started the show off with I'm going to talk a little bit about the Big 12 title game if Dane allows me to.
Oh no, it's in the notes, so I'm on board.
You're right. It is in the notes, so it has to be
the first thing, and we typically spend only maybe 5 seconds on the first thing on the agenda. So take it away, Deonte. Your 5 seconds. You have the floor.
No, I gotta explain what else we're gonna talk about. We're gonna talk a little bit about the Big 12 title game. Talk about the college football playoff matchups, as well as the rest of the New Year's Six bowls. The Heisman, Dane. The Heisman finalists were announced. Maybe some snubs in there. Maybe some snubs. We'll talk about it. We will talk about the Mario Cristobal, Manny Diaz, Miami fiasco going on there, as well as some NIL news from the University of Texas. Interesting to kind of talk about that and what their plans are, Dane. And then in our nerdy news segment, we're going to talk about Hawkeye episodes 3 and 4. Last week we had Sean on to talk about the Oklahoma Sooners and everything going on with Lincoln Riley. They did hire Brent Venables, and Sean is elated about that. So we'll see how that goes for them. Yeah, for sure. So we didn't get to talk about Hawkeye episode 3. So we'll talk about 3 and 4, which dropped today. And then a little bit of Daredevil news, Dane. For
Mm.
people that don't know, we'll save that for the nerdy news segment.
Yeah.
Appreciate you if you're watching on YouTube as well, listening on Apple, Spotify, all those digital streaming platforms. All right, Dane. I'll say my little spill about the Big 12, then we'll move on.
Go ahead, man.
Big 12 champs. Big 12 champs.
It was just me and
no
you
other
here,
way
bro.
to say it. No, it's everybody listening.
Look,
Our
I
50,
hope
our
Corinne
70 listeners.
I hope Corinne will pop up in here and say, "Hey, man, keep it down. I'm watching my soaps." I really hope.
She's not here right now. I'm waiting for her to come to the door. But
take it away.
Back in Arlington for the Big 12 championship. Also, as we know, the last time I was at Cowboy Stadium, the Broncos destroyed the Cowboys.
Not necessary.
Dane's gonna quit this. Yeah,
Dane's
gonna quit this podcast.
Flagrant 2. Go ahead.
Flagrant 2. I'm out. But back to it, man. Couldn't ask for a better start for Baylor, getting out to a 21-3 lead, and then things got a little dicey, got a little close. Oklahoma State continued to fight, despite Spencer Sanders doing what Spencer Sanders does, is giving up the ball multiple times. He threw 4 picks. But they're on the defensive side for both teams, really, Baylor and Oklahoma State. There's my dog coming in. What's up, Matt? Oklahoma State and Baylor's defense were both just playing outstanding throughout the game, despite Baylor putting up those first 21 points in the first half. But I'm going to just go straight to the ending, man.
Okay.
Did you happen to watch that on TV at all, or did you just see the highlights on Twitter?
No, I was watching a little bit of everything. To my excitement, I watched, I think, from the third quarter on forward. See, the thing about it is I have to, when it's not primarily my team, I can't watch it. Otherwise, the team that I would like to win will end up losing. So I always, anytime I have a vested interest in a particular sports team, I always wait to watch after halftime when there's a lead. I'll check into it on ESPN, follow the box score. And then once I feel like it's a comfortable enough lead, I'll tune in. That's the reason why you guys started giving up buns on the lead that you had. So that's my fault. But it's very true. Sports superstition stuff is very real, unfortunately. And for me, it's anytime I watch the game from start to finish that I'm not a particular fan of, the team that I root for always ends up losing. So my apologies to Baylor Nation.
I was going to say, the very few Baylor fans that listen to this podcast, Dane is the reason why we were pins and needles toward the end of the game.
Yeah. And if you're watching this, I have a Lakers hat on, and I'm letting you know the sports superstition. Anytime I wear anything associated with my team loses the following game. So
So we're recording this on next game.
We're recording this on December 8th, and sure enough, the next Lakers game we are going to lose. It's just the way that it happens. It always does. I wanted to wear that versus my Sam Houston sweatshirt. I didn't want to wear that because I wanted to show off. It was two things, and I'll let you get back to whatever words you were talking about. I can't remember, but I had my Sam Houston sweatshirt that I was going to wear, or my my Team Danny t-shirt, or my Team Danny sweatshirt from Survivor season 41. For those of you who have a life, well, most of you, all of you have a life, but for those of you who actually have a life and don't watch all that type of stuff, there's Danny McCray of former Dallas Cowboys safety. He's on there. This is literally the last 2 episodes. This is the second
I gotta catch up, man.
I can't wear that sweatshirt tonight because if I wear it, then inevitably he's going to be voted off.
Yeah.
So I just got
to look out for Danny, man.
I'm trying to, man. I'm trying. So back to you. Sports superstitions are real. Of course, it's on record. A few months ago, I had a CeeDee Lamb jersey on, and yeah, the results of that game speak for themselves, and it's very well documented. I don't know what it is. Every time I step foot in the freaking Cowboy Stadium, whatever team I'm rooting for ends up losing. I don't know. Maybe it's me. I don't know. But sorry. So
it might be you, man.
It is, and let the record show. Go ahead, Deonte. My bad. Apologies to everybody.
You're great, man. Back to the Big 12 title game. The last play, the drive before Baylor was up 21-13. Oklahoma State drove all the way down to the 1-yard line. Could not get in 1, 2, 3 times and decided to kick a field goal. Baylor could move the ball in the next possession, so Oklahoma State gets another opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
No timeouts with 3 minutes left, 90 yards to win the Big 12 and possibly get that fourth spot in the college football playoff.
Possible.
Oklahoma State drives 89 yards.
89 yards.
89 yards and gets to the 1 yard line. And by that time, everybody in the stands, I'm with, the Baylor gang, and we're right in that particular end zone, Dane, and we're debating, like, man, we should let them score, right? Like, we should let them score. They're on the 1 yard line. How many times do you see, like, not just one possession of a goal line stand, but, the previous possession, we had stopped them too. And we're like, man, why aren't we letting them score? We won't have enough time to go down the field and, put up points and try to win the game. But when you really think about it, Baylor was up 21-6 at the half, and they didn't score any more in the second half. Oklahoma State pretty much had Baylor in check in the second half. So there's a very slim chance that Baylor would have drove down the field with no timeouts to win the game. So when you think about it, this obviously was the stand that needed to be made. And man, I tell you, it was, of course, Baylor, them stopping them 1, 2, 3, 4 times, right?
Right.
Credit to the Baylor defense for that. But
huge.
The play calling from Oklahoma State was very weird.
Sus. Extra sus, to say the least.
They didn't have Jalen Warren, their star running back, and so they had the backup Jackson in. But your first team all Big 12 quarterback Spencer Sanders is under center, and you don't give him an opportunity to, put the ball in his hands and run it in. Like, it was the same.
So what do you do in this play? What do you do on this play? I'm just going to piss down my leg.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, your boy. But, like, even if you're Spencer Sanders, like, were you supposed to, like, change the call and, like, hey, I'm the leader. I'm going to make the read here to pull the ball and win us the game. But I don't know, whatever it is, they didn't do it, and we did. We won.
The play the sports,
the play at the
Sports
end,
Illustrated cover, like the post, like that's going to be when they do the the little spread. I'm sure there's what's the newspaper called on Waco?
What is it? Oh, is the Waco Tribune? Thank you.
Waco Tribune. Okay. They're gonna have a full out spread of that whenever whatever success you guys end up having at the the end of this year or to conclude this year. That's going to be one of the highlight pictures of him, like diving for the touchdown and coming up.
His last name is or his name is Jaron McVay, so they're already calling it the McPlay.
Oh my god!
Probably get an NIL deal with McDonald's or something.
Why y'all gotta be so corny like this?
They got to, man.
But it was a hell of a play.
But for those that did not see it, I mean, if you're not a sports fan,
you got to watch the last 5 to 7 minutes of that game. 5 to 7 minutes of that game, that's college football in a nutshell. But
fourth and goal, and if you're looking at the play, Terrell Bernard, Baylor's linebacker, is trying to call a timeout. Neither team has a timeout.
Nope.
And for some reason, the ref blows the whistle. Baylor has no timeouts. Baylor's defense. Right? No, they were trying to grant Baylor a timeout, and then they realized Baylor didn't have any, so they rushed everybody back on the field and reset the play clock. And then you could tell Baylor's defense was scrambling, but Oklahoma State had handed off, and their running back is literally
he is there, all he
shedding to the corner.
He timed it so badly, and it's not his fault. It's Gentleman's probably throwing everything off, but.
Yeah. Didn't have the speed to get to the corner. I feel like if he'd have made one little hesitation or move, maybe he could have got in there. But
a slight high step, if you will.
Yeah. But stretch for the end zone, and man, when I tell you, Dane, I thought he scored. From where y'all
was sitting there, there's no way you would have been able to tell if he scored or not.
Right. There's no way. So
for everybody at home, we could see. We could say, oh, okay, yeah, that's good.
Oh, okay.
At home, we could tell.
When the play happened, bro. Baylor fans cheered and Oklahoma State fans cheered. You couldn't, everybody's cheering, and then when the ref is he does the to mark the ball at the one, it's wow, we really, really made that stop. And so, Big 12 champions for the third time in school history. tied with the University of Texas for all you Longhorn fans. Yes, we are tied with you for the most Big 12 or second most Big 12 championships
Get it
in
together.
history. Just wanted to say that in my Baylor segment.
A 15-minute segment.
This is not a Baylor podcast. Just had to let it out there. What a game. On to the Sugar Bowl against Ole Miss in New Orleans on January 1st, which will be a hell of a matchup against Lane Kiffin, Matt Corral, who
Rich man right there.
we thought, or I thought, would have been a Heisman candidate, but we'll get to that in a second, Dane. And then
times.
Yeah. Are you surprised by the top four? So we have Alabama at 1. Am I right?
Okay.
Hold on. Let me see if I get this right. Yes, excuse me. Alabama at 1, Michigan at 2, Georgia at 3, Cincinnati at 4. So our semifinal matchup in the Cotton Bowl at AT&T, Alabama versus Cincinnati. And then our other semifinal matchup in the Orange Bowl is between Michigan and Georgia. And the national championship will be played at Lucas Oil Stadium, where the Colts play on January 10th. So our top four, Alabama, Michigan, Georgia, and Cincinnati. Is that right?
So, a few things. Bama beats Georgia in the SEC championship, which a few people who picked Georgia to win got it wrong. Unfortunately, I wasn't one of those people.
I was too.
Yeah, no, you got it wrong. I got it right. Dane got it right. You got it wrong.
You did? You picked Bama?
I did pick Bama. I got the wrong score. Man. I said Bama about 3 on this very podcast, Deonte.
Smart man. Episode 68. Check it out.
Yeah, check it out. So it's the only one that got all of my picks right, by the way. Just throwing that out there again. Anywho, here's the issue. You want good games across the board. You want fairness. In fairness, Georgia should have dropped to number 4. Cincy should have went to number 3. But with Bama going to number 1 and Michigan going to number 2, that's not a favorable matchup in terms of TV viewership. What do I mean by that? People are going to watch it, yes. But the issue is more people would watch that game in a national championship matchup. The Bama versus Georgia rematch. More people would tune into that on the national stage for all the marbles than they would versus the first game. Nobody's gonna deny that. But the committee being the committee, they know that money runs this whole entire organization, or capitalism drives this whole entire situation. So what they're going to do is the games are going to be hyped up. The first round games are going to be hyped up because we all know that we want to see the rematch, right? And in my point of view, it's unfair. It's literally is going to be unfair whoever plays Alabama, and it's unfair whoever Cincinnati plays for whoever plays versus Cincinnati. So I don't think anybody would have wanted to see Cincinnati versus Michigan. However, there's an opportunity for both of those games to happen, or for that game to happen. Now, I don't know what the money line would be for that, and whoever is brave enough to put up that type of money to, in a situation where somehow we get the Bearcats.
Both those teams win.
Yeah, like I don't see it happening, but we've seen some crazy stuff this year. But I think anybody, if you're a betting man, your money is probably going to be Bama versus Georgia in the national championship game. But I think for the most part they got it right. If you're talking about the best matchups, yes. Mm-hmm. For the best teams, or which makes the most logical sense, I don't think so. But that's just me.
Right. Yeah, I think it kind of played like all the chaos that we talked about last week that could happen. It didn't go that way. The most chaotic thing was Bama beating Georgia, but we all knew when that happened what was going to happen, right? Georgia was still going to be in the playoff.
Yeah, it was going to be a rematch. And at the end of the day, it was going to be a rematch. So much for them.
And, with Oklahoma State falling to Baylor in the Big 12 championship, that solidified Cincinnati. Woo. And what's crazy, Cincinnati went undefeated. They knocked off Notre Dame.
At home.
I mean, at Notre Dame.
So that was
right. And so for them to have to depend on Oklahoma State still falling, that's kind of weird, right?
Right.
And so you see a lot of people clamoring for. We've been
Fall.
clamoring for an expansion of the playoff
It needs to
because
happen.
situations like these. I mean, I don't know if did you see Kirk Herbstreit's tweet
No, what was he
about
talking
people
about?
complaining? He said it was like along the gist of, hey, 7 years of people complaining about a Power Five or a Group of Five team getting in. Now one has gotten in. I don't hear y'all crying now. But what the tweet what he's failing to realize is that the only reason that happened
It's because of
is
another
because
team. Yeah.
Right, they had to depend on someone. It wasn't clear cut that they were going to be in there. Like they
Right.
sat at 4. They never went up to 1. They never, like the committee was waiting for anything to happen for them to get pulled out.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
and what Cincinnati went undefeated last year, if I'm not mistaken, and they weren't in the playoffs. So it took them 2 years of being undefeated to get in. That's just ridiculous. But
That
I mean,
speaks,
I think
that speaks to the bigger issue. The
Yeah.
playoff format should be expanded so one-off situations like this don't happen. You don't have to rely on other teams to win when you're undefeated. That makes no sense, regardless of what conference you're in. You're the best,
right? And
if you're the best team in your conference, you should be able to represent your conference in some sort of fashion for seeding purposes. But
right,
it's an
and then
import
like
format.
it's not like they played cupcake. Like I mean,
No.
they beat Notre Dame, who's
They
ranked
played
5th, and and like you can see they beat Houston in the conference championship. Houston was ranked,
right,
and so like I mean,
they had games.
it's
Solid games.
ridiculous, right?
It's
And so I
getting real
hope
ridiculous. It's getting very ridiculous.
we know they're going against the juggernaut Alabama, but man, it'd be nice to at least see them keep this game close into the fourth quarter. I'm not gonna say they're gonna win it, but hell, why not? Like, wouldn't that be some kind of parody? All the parody we talked about over the past past few weeks in college football, in the NFL. Everybody's beating everybody in NFL.
Facts.
Wouldn't that be something to have like something crazy like that to happen where Cincinnati can pull it off? Luke Fickell can pull some magic out of his hat and have these guys at the end, at the very end against a Michigan team. How cool would that be? I love in this situations where we've seen the Georgias every year.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen the Bamas every year. Like, man, let's see Cincinnati. Let's see Michigan. Let's see some teams that, especially Cincinnati, that haven't been on this stage.
Right.
Try to win a national championship, especially with Cincinnati now heading to the Big 12 in a few years. So that'd be cool. The other bowl matchups, Dane, New Year's 6 bowl matchups in the Peach Bowl. We got Michigan State against Pittsburgh, and we got to talk about that Kenny Pickett play, man. Before we even get to bro, come on. It was a dope play, but asking you right now, should that be, or I won't say a penalty, but should he be considered down if he does a fake slide?
Dead?
Yeah, considering all the stuff about protecting quarterbacks, and say, a safety comes and cleans his clock when he really does slide. Be like, hey man, like if I let up, he gonna fake slide. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. That's a hell of a play by Kenny Pickett. Yeah. Taking advantage. You know what I'm saying? But what you think about that?
It's one of those sneaky Bill Belichick moves where it's right inside the coloring of the lines of the rule book. So this particular situation, I'm on the fence about this one. I haven't picked a clear side because this one, it's in gray territory.
It is rare. Like
on one hand, I love Kenny Pickett. I am excited for whatever team picks him up. He's going to be a mid-first round guy. He's got some damn good tape out there, and we have seen some very athletic and dope explosive plays this year from quarterbacks in terms of college football and the NFL. But you just don't see plays like that. How everybody, of course, you're always preached, or coaches always preach to you, play to the whistle. You always play to the whistle. And the players did the right thing in terms of making sure that they don't go too far and potentially getting a penalty and tacking on additional 15 yards for, something silly. And then, of course, potentially getting thrown out of the game for a targeting call. So they did the right thing. It's just what type of precedent does it start? And then at the same time, as a who's going to be against something like that? Like I don't know. It's just it's a tough one to deal with because you want to protect the players. You want to make sure that everyone's safe and everyone's conducting themselves in such a manner that's not only good for the viewers but also good for the players. But at the same time, I don't think you can. I don't know how you can officiate that. I don't know how you can rule that out. But
as much as refs are getting scrutinized as it is, like for them to it's like another thing for them to deal with. Not to say that they're out the woods for different calls that they make, but that's just something else to think about down the line. I was listening a little bit to I don't know if you ever listened to it, Dane, the Inside the Garage podcast with the Notre Dame players on the Volume Network.
Yeah, it was dope.
And they discussed,
Yes, I said yeah, it's dope.
Yeah, they discussed this very same play, and Kyle Hamilton was actually like
the Kyle Hamilton, probably the number one.
Kyle Hamilton,
the
top
number one.
5.
If I'm a betting man, I'd say top 10. He's top 5 talent, but the position itself, he's a do-it-all safety. So,
I ain't did it in a while, Dane.
What's that?
You breaking down these prospects? Let me get your drop.
Oh. It's time for General Homeboy.
Shout out to Keith. When we get to the draft, the offseason, we'll get to bring that drop back more often. But Kyle Hamilton was basically saying he loved the play and he doesn't think it should be because their debate was, should it be a flag, which I think is kind of taking it too far. But I would go and lean towards it, considered being down. Yeah. Just because if you want to protect the players or quarterbacks, you want to go like y'all been doing with the personal fouls and everything like that.
Right.
If you don't call that down, I mean, when they really do slide, you're gonna see somebody try to take his head off because they're like, if I let up, right. So, just another thing to kind of think about in the future. But Michigan State, Pittsburgh in the Peach Bowl in Atlanta on December 30th. Notre Dame, like we just mentioned, number 5 in the college football playoff rankings on January 1st, take on Big 12 runner-up Oklahoma State. Mm-hmm. In the Rose Bowl, Dane, your Buckeyes, Ohio State takes on the Pac-12 champions,
Ohio State.
The Ohio State University taking on Utah in the Rose Bowl. And then, as we mentioned on the top of the pod, Baylor, Big 12 champions, taking on Ole Miss in the Sugar Bowl. Man, that is going to be a great game on January 1st, nightcap. Out of these matchups, Dane, which one do you think is, how can I say it? Just like jumps out to you. What are you most excited to watch out of these matchups? Which game?
Is this a bait question or is this a real question? Because I can answer this one of two ways.
You can't pick Ohio State. How about that?
So I can pick Utah then. You say I can't talk about Ohio State, but
the Ohio State game, fool.
Because Utah, well, I mean, it's the Utah game too, though. And Utah has some damn good players on that defense. So the linebacker is probably going to go top 15. Off-ball linebacker.
Talk about it.
Damn good. Okay, anyways, my bad. I'll pick for the sake of this conversation, I will pick someone else. I would mention the Orange Bowl because we have Michigan, which has some amazing guys on defense. 2 dominant edge rushers, one of which has Heisman hopes, and then of course your Georgia defense, which we talked about in great detail during the last podcast. I'm not gonna go there, but I think for me at least, I'd have to go. I'm sticking with that. The Orange Bowl. Only because we're going to see, it's going to me, in my opinion, it's going to be a low-scoring game. And the only reason why it'll be a high-scoring game, it'll be a landslide blowout.
Which game?
The Orange Bowl? Or you
Orange Bowl or Peach Bowl? Oh, you meant you went to the semifinal matchups. My bad.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
I mean, I can talk about. I can talk. Like I said, I can talk about that one, but it's kind of like a cheat, not a cheat, but we've already pretty much went over that.
I got you.
For the sake of,
I got you.
I mean, there's nothing that impresses me about the. I mean,
the New Year's Six matchups.
Yeah, I mean Kenneth Walker. I mean, you know, I'm gonna let you handle this one. Because if I talk about the Rose Bowl, I'm a homer, and I mean honestly,
I know I put you in a box. I apologize. I should just let you be free, man.
Yeah, it's cool.
What am I doing putting Dane in a box? Who am I?
Shackling me up. Man.
Who am I? I'm gonna go with if we're going strictly off the New Year's Six bowls and not the semifinal matchups. I'm gonna go with the Notre Dame Oklahoma State game, just because. I think
petty.
What? No, not petty, y'all. Not petty. Well, maybe a little bit of petty.
You already got the last laugh, so seeing Notre Dame beat up on Oklahoma State would probably be like just music to your ears. Even more.
Yeah. Well, one other reason is because a few weeks ago, I think before we played Texas Tech, they had Baylor playing Notre Dame in the Fiesta Bowl. And I was really excited about that because I thought that would have been a great matchup. Two tough defenses going at it. Two religious schools going at it. Holy War Part 2.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I'm kind of interested to see how Notre Dame or Oklahoma State match up against each other and see like kind of imagine how Baylor would match up with Notre Dame too. So one thing for sure, Spencer Sanders has got to
take care of the ball.
Snap out of it. He's a junior now. Like, and the way he plays.
He's got to go back his senior year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Without a doubt. But the way he plays is like, you're like, dang, this dude's a 3-year starter? Like, you wouldn't think of it. And going against that Notre Dame defense, man, they don't play. Like, they have range. And so I think Notre Dame does win this game pretty comfortably, but it'll be interesting to see how just those two teams play and match up with one another. So I'll go with that one. Yeah. But we had mentioned earlier, brother, about the Heisman candidates, finalists that were named on December 6th. Alabama quarterback Bryce Young, Michigan defensive end Aiden Hutchinson, Pittsburgh quarterback Kenny Pickett, and Ohio State quarterback CJ Dane.
For some of those illiterate folks, CJ Stroud. What you thinking? CJ Stroud.
CJ Stroud.
CJ.
I personally, I think the performance that Bryce Young kind of put on, we had talked about it last week. Right. We had talked about it last week, right? With Sean, yeah. We talked about how, man,
he's balling.
We don't know who is stepping forward. Like, that was last week's argument on the podcast, right. But when that title game, championship weekend came, Bryce Young just went crazy, right? Mm-hmm. And you kind of see why he was a 5-star quarterback coming in, right? He's put his team on the back, making plays through his, with his feet and through the air. And so I think we both agree Bryce Young will take this award home on Saturday, Dane. But what about the guys that didn't get the call, that won't be in New York on Saturday? And this is my wife calling.
Oh, do your thing. Just take a minute to pause. Let it breathe.
Hey, baby, I am recording the podcast. Huh?
Need anything on my way home?
No.
Tell her to get a large fry.
She's gonna like that. Once again, she makes an appearance. That
has to be the intro.
Anybody that yeah.
Hey, baby, I'm on a podcast.
Do you need anything about?
That's love right there. Because not only did she, just checking in with you before she comes home, but she understands. Look, she understands the situation, the situational awareness that your wife displayed right now is just phenomenal, over the top. I mean,
awareness on 99.
The draft stock is going through the roof right now. I mean, you won't find a better decision maker than her. Not in this draft. I don't think. Period. But shout out to Karina. Shout out to Karina.
Love you, baby. But yeah, Dane, guys that did not get the call that won't be there on Saturday for the presentation that you think should be there.
I just say guy. The one guy, and obviously, I'm selfish in the sense that I want, and I talked about this last week, or we talked about this last week. I want to see a defensive player win the Heisman, which is not going to happen because the Heisman, as of very recently, within the last 10 or 15 years, has been an offensive player award, specifically a quarterback award. Excuse me. But it is a complete travesty, and we might see a bunch of things that play here. And in general, Homeboy is going to break it down for you. A few things that play here as to why Will Anderson is not making the trip. Will Anderson Jr., of course, he's an edge rusher / linebacker. He's got his hand in the dirt, or he can rush you from a 2-point stand. He is Alabama's MVP. Now, obviously, your quarterback is always Bryce Young. Your quarterback is always going to be your most valuable player. He goes down, everything changes. But for the sake of what we have seen from Bama for the past 15 or so years, has been excellence across the board on defense. The anchor for this year is no one other than Will Anderson. He is left off the ballot. I understand because there is a such thing as voter fatigue. We've seen this happen with many greats across many sports over many years, and it's been a debate. It's going to continue being a debate. We've seen it happen with LeBron James. It's all happened with Kobe Bryant, Kevin Durant. It's probably going to happen to Giannis in a few more seasons. People are going to get tired of, see somebody else, Steph Curry, the list goes on. Voter fatigue is a real thing. It's not so much as me as a fan, I don't care. If you're the best player, you should be rewarded as such. It doesn't matter how many times you won it. And at that point, you decide to remove a person just for the simple fact that the association they have with an organization continues to be on the ballot. That gets political, and that's wrong because you're penalizing a particular person because of the success of an organization or program. And that is exactly what's happening. And people want to say what they want to say about, you can't say that because Bryce Young's on the Bryce Young is phenomenal. And the fact of what he did or is doing as a freaking freshman,
Yeah, it's pretty damn good.
Yeah, he's freshman. Okay, I'm sorry, I had a brain fart. I was like, wait, no, he's a sophomore. But that again, it goes back to show like he's playing as well. Like, wait a minute, is he really a freshman?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and the thing about it is, you say, well, you're going to add Will Anderson. Who are you going to take off? It's easy. It's very easy. It's very easy, and I'm not hating, but just keeping it buck. If you look at Aiden Hutchinson's tape and you look at Will Anderson's tape, one of those guys is going to jump out to you more than the other. And the crazy thing about it is, with 10 other ballers on that Alabama defense, it's very hard. It shouldn't be this easy for another player to stand out based on how many 5- and 4-star recruits and how many amazing players that start on that defense. But Hutchinson is an amazing person, and this is nothing to discredit him, but it's not even close. And I hate to say it, but you can go look at the stats. The sacks, tackles for losses, just the overall impact, the get off, the explosion, it's there. Like, he's just a better player. You won't see better production from any other edge rusher, period. But again, this just goes back to a bias that's going to hurt Alabama football, specifically defense. And I don't say that was the last thing, but one other thing, like, we talk about plenty of other times, or last week we talked about a few guys that, who you could possibly see as winning the Heisman as a defensive player in previous years. We talked about Ndamukong Suh and them amazing stat line production that he had in Nebraska. It's Nebraska, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's Nebraska. Because he had didn't he have a single digit number? No, he didn't. I'm joking. Whatever. Anyway,
wait, who are we talking about?
Ndamukong Suh.
Oh yeah. What was his number in college?
Was it like a single digit?
5?
Was it a single digit? I don't know. I think I'm making it up. Okay.
Now I gotta look it up. No, he was 93. So now I gotta look it up.
Yeah, because now it's bothering me. Was he a single digit in college? No. Randy Gregory was a single digit in college. He was number 4.
Oh, you already looked it up?
No. I'm just in my head. I'm
93. He was 93.
Okay, 93.
Wow.
I'm thinking of Randy Gregory. My bad. But anyways, Aaron Donald at Pitt, what he was doing at his size was impressive. Him being pretty much a hair over 6 foot and just solid 2 285, maybe 280-pound defensive tackle, lining up all over the defensive line, wreaking havoc. And then, of course, recently, again, no bias, Chase Young. We saw what Chase Young did when he was at Ohio State in just a few short games because of a bogus ass suspension that he had to serve, whatever. But we've seen players, quote unquote, generational talent, and then this year we see, Will Anderson and what he put up on tape, what tape he put out. It's pretty impressive. But it is what it is. I'm going to watch both of these guys. I don't care. They're not going to be available when Dallas picks. But if Dallas somehow is able to pick, I don't care which one of those guys. I want one of them on my team, rushing, off the edge, opposite of Tank or Randy Gregory or Michael Parsons, whichever. But they are dope as hell. I got to watch Aiden single-handedly disrupt and kill all hopes that I had of my Ohio State Buckeyes making it to the championship, which I saw that happen. But I appreciate one thing I'm going to do. I'm going to appreciate greatness, and that's what I saw. But if I got my pick, it's going to be Will Anderson. But unfortunately, that's not the world that we live in today, and it's a travesty. Yeah. Rant over.
I think if I had to pick, I'd maybe pick. I mean, I know he wasn't going to win.
Did not beat nobody from Baylor.
No, Kenneth Walker III from Michigan State.
That ended versus that Ohio State game.
Right. I mean, they could have, at least invited the guy. He was leading the nation in rushing yards and touchdowns, so you would think he at least got an invite. But
he's still going high.
For the most part, I think we both agree Bryce Young is going to take this one home. We also mentioned on last episode, huh?
He's so good, bro. Like, he has it in his mind.
Walker?
Oh, no. Well, Walker's good, too. Yeah. But it's just such a young age, the maturity that we see from this guy in the pocket, like knowing that he has 10, 15 yards in front of him to take off running, and he simply just, I want to be a passer. Like, that is going to take him so far.
Yeah.
And
what's so crazy, not to cut you off, but people that listen and watching our podcast, just take a moment to watch and listen to his podcast, which is also under Colin Cowherd's network. This guy is just snagging all the talent, but he's very smart, mature. Like that comes off immediately when you listen to
the
him.
Intangibles.
And you're right. Like you're like, dang, this dude's 19 years old. Like you wouldn't think. That you think he'd be like a seasoned vet, maybe a rookie, second year in NFL. Not to say his talent is there, but the way he speaks, the way he talks, the way he carries himself.
Deonte, it's a few dudes in college right now that are underclassmen that are not draft eligible that could that could start or play and have some pretty decent stats in the NFL. Bryce being one of them, in my opinion. Old buddy from Georgia is the other one. Tight end. You know what I'm talking about too. What's his name?
I mean, not Thibodeau.
God dang, what's old buddy's name? The freshman. Again. I can't remember dude's name.
Got to look him up.
Brock Bowers. That is a grown ass man. That is a grown ass man. Somehow, yeah. Anyway, that he can start in the NFL at tight end today. Literally, like legit.
Yeah.
Anyways, my bad. Back to what you're saying. Sorry, I was getting excited again.
I forgot what I was saying.
I'm so sorry. Apologize. So mature. You talking about him on the podcast and how mature?
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's very mature and he carries himself, like a quarterback, like a leader, all the intangible stuff that you like to see from your quarterback kind of thing. He has it. And he's probably going to take the Heisman Trophy home on Saturday. We mentioned also Dane on the last podcast when we had Sean on about the coaching carousel and everything going crazy. And that carousel continued to turn since our last episode. Mario Cristobal leaving Oregon to head back to his home, taking over the University of Miami, which, good for him. But, Miami had a coach at the time, right?
Ugly, bro.
Manny Diaz was still the coach for University of Miami when the so-called hiring happened. Things don't really are supposed to happen like that, and it did.
It was ugly, bro.
It was an ugly
they
kind of
handled that
setup.
so bad.
He was on the road recruiting apparently when he got the news, which
Foul.
just imagine, dude. You. There's no way that you cannot hear about it like on the social media, like, hey, they finna hire somebody for your job. Like, imagine
for reference, if anybody needs a good analogy, you in a relationship, yep. you in a relationship, possibly married, and you out at the grocery store, getting food, to cook, to surprise your lady for dinner. You about to come home and cook, but she has no idea you're at the store. You get a call from her, it's like, oh baby, while you're gone, I ended up meeting somebody else. Don't come home. Huh?
Yeah.
Huh? That's legit what happened. Like,
yeah.
It's dirty macking, man. Like, it's messed up. And the fact that you and I and everybody else that has a Twitter is able to see this play out, hours ahead. Like, it's so messed up, but I couldn't take my eyes away from it.
All right.
It's foul, bro. And, like, if they do that to him, what you think they're going to do to you when you come home or you got a bunch of 3-win seasons or, a bunch of situations where you don't take them where you're supposed to, like.
Nothing surprises me now, man. What we've seen with the Lincoln Riley situation, Brian Kelly, totally different situations. But
still foul.
That just goes to show how in 2021, like, anything is possible. Like, anything is possible. Your coach can wake up tomorrow and be like, bro, I'm done. Bro, I'm going to NFL. Bro, I'm doing this. Right? And so what's so interesting about it is how Manny Diaz got to the University of Miami. For people that don't remember, Manny Diaz was hired as the Temple head coach back in December of 2018. Mm-hmm. And then at that time, Mark Richt was the Miami coach. He decided to retire. Mm-hmm. And then that same night, Miami went and got Manny Diaz. And so Temple, he was Temple's head coach for like 18 days. And so a lot of people were, people love to bring up, a lot of people love to bring up receipts. And so when Manny Diaz had came out and said, how he felt wrong, people, of course, brought up this situation.
What about Temple? How do you feel about that?
Right.
Care to comment about that?
His situation, yeah, exactly. What about the time you left Temple to go to Miami? That was different.
Oh, that was different. For those of you who don't know when we're recording, it's Friday. So
yes.
The show. Yes, not the show. The movie Friday. Not like, oh, today is Friday. No, the movie recording.
The show. The movie. Friday. The movie. But to go along with that, Dane, just it's like expect the unexpected and everything that goes on in the world of sports. Like now more than ever. And to go along with the Cristobal news, Kayvon Thibodeau announced that he was heading to the league, which is not a surprise, but the Mario Cristobal news kind of, is like, all right, I'm dipping out of here, which rightfully so. He's easily top 3, top 5 pick in the draft. Yeah, he's only a sophomore, redshirt sophomore, I believe. So he
get paid.
He gonna
stay healthy.
He
nice. That boy good.
Yeah, defensive end for those that don't know, Kayvon Thibodeau.
A lot of good defensive ends. We're talking about a lot of good defensive ends. A lot of them.
A lot.
Long names too. All 3 of them. My top 3 defensive ends all got long last names.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Yeah. Our last story in the college football segment, Dan, a new NIL program will pay each Texas offensive lineman $50,000 a year.
50 bones, my boy.
$50,000. Let's get into it, man. What are we talking about?
So
Horns with Heart.
Yeah.
Oh, you got it?
Oh no,
yeah,
no,
go ahead, bro.
No, go ahead.
Oh,
no,
okay. I was just gonna read the article. No, I'm gonna read the article.
Okay, bet.
I'm gonna read the article. I'm gonna let you spit. All right. Horns with Heart, a nonprofit charity organization, will provide every scholarship offensive lineman at Texas with $50,000 annually as part of a new NIL program, the latest in a series of launches by Longhorn supporters that likely will spur a new type of arms race in college sports. I think we talked a little bit about this when we talked about the NIL, Dane.
Mm-hmm.
The program appropriately named the Pancake Factory. That's a cool name, by the way.
For offensive line,
will be the
dope as hell,
right.
bro.
Will be the first of its kind. It will support a football position group for players to participate in charitable endeavors. It will begin August 1st, 2022, with a total of $800,000 annual embark for the offensive line sponsorship. So, Dane, first thoughts, man.
First off, desperate. That's all I gotta say. Well, you can think about it two ways. It's imagine like the little demon guy on your shoulder and the little angel dude on your shoulder. It's like, man, that's awful. How could they use such a loophole like this to try to bring and recruit talent? And the other guy's like, well, Texas has been in a rut for a while. This would not only bring your best offensive linemen to this university, but also if I know that they're going to be, let's hypothetically speaking, if the 5 best linemen in the United States of America, or the 5 best collegiate linemen come to one university, who's that also going to bring here? The best quarterbacks possible. So not only, and there's a third part to that. Pancakes. Who the hell doesn't love pancakes? Like, we were going through cleaning out stuff in the kitchen because we're getting ready to move in a few months. And my wife was like, you still want this waffle maker? I'm like, yeah. And I know it's not a pancake, but still, it's essentially the same thing. But who the hell doesn't love pancakes? So, I mean, call it what you want, but somebody's paying you, or it's literally, you're going to be a salaried employee, essentially. $50,000 is for 18, 19, 20-year-olds. Who the hell's going to say no to that? And that's on top of everything else that you're getting. So it's like, it's dope, but at the same time, I can see how people could turn their nose up to it. Still, it doesn't mean Texas is back, so please don't start saying that crap. But at the same time, it does mean that we're seeing some very creative ways that these entities are choosing to compensate these players, which is long overdue. So shout out to the players getting that cheddar. But yeah, we're going to see some pretty amazing and creative ways. But go ahead, Deonte, what you got?
Man, I'm sitting here thinking as you're talking about it, and I'm like, if you're Texas, of course, like we always say to the players, get paid, young brother.
Get your money.
Get your money. And then if I'm Texas, I'm like, what else? I mean, like, why not if you're Texas, right? Take advantage of any opportunity that you can. You know, NCAA is not governing this thing, which now they're trying to do so. Nobody's listening to the NCAA. Thanks. But to another point is, like, Texas hasn't produced, I think that I couldn't find the article, but they haven't produced like a legit offensive line prospect like that got drafted in the top
Connor Williams
3 or 4 picks.
Guy,
right. Okay.
Round. That's a second round dude. Other than that, they ain't done.
Right. They haven't produced any offensive linemen. Right. And so your pitch to a recruit is, hey, man, we're going to get you to the league. And then the offensive lineman going to look with who? All you got is Connor Williams, right? Okay. They need any other advantage that they can pitch to these recruits to be like, hey, you should come here for this. Like the NFL route, or, you know, developing you to become an NFL offensive lineman isn't the way to go now, because y'all ain't sending these linemen to the league like that. You know what I'm saying? So I think from their viewpoint, they're trying to, you know, take advantage of anything and everything that they can to get the guys there, whatever it takes. And so, salute to them, man. I mean, the Pancake Factory is a hell of a name. Like, who would want to go there if you're offensive lineman, besides the fact that you may not go to the league?
Okay.
But you're going to get paid.
So, fun fact for you. You ready for this?
Drop it on me, bro.
What name did we talk about not too long ago? Is it super common? And we was like, man, I wonder if some of these dudes is related. Mike Williams. We talked about.
Oh, yeah.
That was the last offensive lineman from the University of Texas to get drafted in the first round. Mike Williams.
Yeah.
Back in 2002.
What year was that?
2002.
Exactly. So that's what thank you, Dane.
It's a long time.
Thank you, Dane.
Pick number 4, by the way, but that's still a long time.
So for those that are listening, Longhorn fans included, 2002 was the last time a Texas offensive lineman was drafted in the first round. So if you're Texas, you can't tell recruits we'll get you drafted in the first round. But you can tell recruits we get you paid at the Pancake Factory.
Facts.
Why not?
And we can
Why not?
We can guarantee you can get drafted in the second round. We got Connor Williams, and they take a long pause, and then the recruiter's like waiting for them to say something else, and they're drawing a blank because they can't remember any of the players that have been drafted in the second round. Yeah, but anyways, you're absolutely right. That's the pitch. You don't got to sell them anything, pretty much anything else, but.
You think they go to a recruit's house and just, their mom done cook, the recruit's mom done cooked them a good ass meal. They sit down at the table. The coach just brings up 2 bags of money and just drops it there.
And then he slides over a plate of pancakes.
Yeah.
This all could be yours.
This could be you. But you're playing.
Brother.
Hey, man, Texas, salute. Do what you can. Because Baylor's catching up on you.
Oh, my gosh.
We caught you. 3 Big 12. All right. Next segment.
What's that sound?
Nerdy news segment. Music. Shout out to Keith. Episodes 3 and 4 we will talk about today. Last episode of the Duo Sports and Stuff podcast, we had our guy Sean on. Didn't get to talk about episode 3, so we'll talk about 3 and 4 of Hawkeye. Only 2 episodes left, Dane. And remember, next week we got episode 5 and Spider-Man No Way Home in theaters. Gonna be a crazy week next week for Marvel fans, man. I'm so excited. And Dane, you got your tickets already, right? I think we talked about this. Yes. You seen it Thursday?
We're seeing it Saturday. Because
no, bro, no.
No, I can't see it Thursday, man. One is just the wife has to work on the following Friday or the Friday after. I don't have to work that Friday, but my wife does.
Yeah.
Childcare just gets a little convoluted.
Yeah,
we tried to see something for Friday, but everything was just it was too late.
So I know you are very great at this. So
avoiding spoilers.
you can't even open your phone, bro.
I can now. Only thing I gotta avoid is I have 2 separate timelines on Twitter now. The main timeline, and then the other timeline is just strictly Cowboy stuff. So anytime I don't want to walk into any spoilers with Yellowstone,
I think the Cowboy stuff
Marvel,
is still dangerous, bro.
No, it's not. Deonte.
Did you mute everything Spider-Man No Way Home related?
No. I've only followed Cowboys related.
What if one of the Cowboy?
No. Not players.
Accounts tweet.
Not players. Not accounts. This is specifically writers, different podcasts.
What if they see the movie?
It hasn't happened, Deonte. And here's the thing.
Risky, bro.
It's not risky, Deonte. It's not risky because I'm also avoiding Google.
Because you're gonna text me. You'll say, man, such and such writer. He tweeted.
This is fail proof. I've tested this with, like I said, with Yellowstone, with Insecure, with Hawkeye. Like I have found.
Hey, this is Spider-Man, though, bro. Everybody in the world is seeing this.
What I'm telling you is fail proof. It can't go wrong. And it's only 24 hours, bro. I'm gonna be home on Friday.
The game. The movie drops Thursday. I'm seeing it Thursday, so that's gonna be 48 hours before you see it.
Good job, Deonte. Still, my point still stands.
I'm scared for you.
Why are you being scared, man? You're playing like one of these.
Anyway, let's pray for Dane and Nisi that they don't get spoiled on this movie.
No spoilers, man. We good.
Hawkeye, and spoiler alert for those who have not seen episodes 3 and 4 of Hawkeye. Episode 3, Dane kind of goes into the backstory of the mysterious character we saw at the end of episode 2, which comes out to be Maya Lopez, that she's deaf, and you go through her childhood, and it kind of mirrors what we saw from episode 1 of Kate Bishop's childhood and how she was raised. We see that Maya is very smart at a young age. She's very talented. She's trained in like this young martial arts kind of deal. We see that her dad was a part of the tracksuit mafia, and seems like he has some money troubles as well. And he ends up getting killed by what we think is Ronin or somebody dressed as Ronin. We're still not sure about that yet. There's mention of an uncle, which they do not show who the uncle is, but he's wearing a suit and he wears the cufflink. It's like a character that we met in Netflix's Daredevil, and he goes by the name of Kingpin. So we don't know yet. Something to think about. And then also in episode 3, towards the end of episode 3, I believe it's kind of fuzzy in my memory, but I believe Hawkeye and Kate Bishop go to her mother's house to try to. Actually, they do break into the mother's like security company or whatever to try to find out some information.
End of episode 3.
Yes. And it ends with Hawkeye getting pointed at with the sword by Jack Duquesne. Yes. So episode 3 ends like that. Episode 4 kind of comes out and picks up where episode 3 left off with Hawkeye, Kate Bishop, Kate's mom, and then Jack all sitting at the dinner table, which Dane, the mom, is shady as hell. I don't know who she is exactly or who she works for. Maybe a connection to what we may think is Kingpin coming. But she seems pretty shady and questioning Hawkeye, mentioning Natasha Romanoff's death, which, you know, that's kind of stuck it to Hawkeye there. And then one thing I forgot to mention in Hawkeye or episode 3 was the legit car chase scene with the continuous spinning camera. That part was dope, along with my favorite part of episode 3 with the Pym arrow that made the other arrow big and exploded on the bridge. And then towards the end of episode 4, Natasha's sister that we met in Black Widow, Yelena, pops up. And if you remember what happened at the end of Black Widow, the movie,
Lias.
What was old girl's name in the post-credit scene of Falcon and the Winter Soldier as well as Black Widow? What's her name?
Something out of Lane.
What is her name? Yes.
You talking about Elaine? No, her name is Elaine from Seinfeld.
Yeah, Elaine from Seinfeld. Now she's in the MCU. She's playing this shady character. At the end of Black Widow, the movie, she popped up and told Yelena that, hey, this person killed your sister, and we saw that it was Clint dressed up in the Ronin outfit.
Just lying.
Right. So at the end of episode 4, Yelena pops up, and they are all going at it on top of the roof, and then we're finally unveiled to see that it's Yelena, and weirdly enough, she just hops off the building.
That was the last person I thought who it was, but I was like, who the hell could this other person be? And I was like, maybe she has some sort of long lost clone twin sister or something like that. I was like, okay, no, that doesn't make any sense. Because I'm fighting her right now.
Doesn't Florence Pugh look like, at least at that part, she looked like Hayden Panettiere?
A little bit. Save the cheerleader.
Save the cheerleader, save the world. But yeah, that's a quick. I know I kind of went through that pretty fast, but that's the gist of episode 3 and 4. You see a lot of character building between Kate Bishop and Clint in episode 4 as well. The connection kind of building between those two. But I think overall, Dane, episode 4 kind of serves as like the setup for what's to come. And we know some big time action coming because we got 2 episodes left. We know with the MCU shows that we've seen so far is going to go down.
Speaking of big time action, episodes 1 and 2 were phenomenal, but episode 3 in terms of action, that was a movie.
They turned it up.
Yeah, they did turn it up, but I think we're going to be led into your classic bait and switch by Marvel. What do I mean by that? So 2 theories, and I might be getting ahead of myself. But Echo, we have mentions of who this uncle, this hidden shadowy figure is going to be. We have no idea, but of course, early preliminary, especially from you, because I wasn't thinking about it, but we've been led to believe it could be Wilson Fisk, Kingpin. But also, you have to remember, I mean, with sticking to the source material, that could be correct because in the comics, Echo is adopted by Kingpin, or when her father dies, so it's likely that he is her uncle. But we've also known Marvel to lead us on to think it's one thing, and then it's something else. So there's other theories floating around there. The uncle could end up being Jack instead of Fisk. That could also be a thing. But the mom, Kay's mom, she hiding something. Yeah. And it might be the identity of whoever this person is or ends up being. I don't know. Or of course, it could be just Marvel doing a fantastic job of misleading the viewers again. But I don't know.
Yeah. Like there's still, I mean, we have a lot of time left with these 2 episodes, but there's still like a lot of unanswered questions. Like who killed Jack's uncle in episode 1, the old guy. What is the watch? What is that watch? You know what I'm talking about? The Avengers compound watch?
I thought it was just a link to his family in some way, shape, or form. Like,
whose family?
You talking about the watch, right? The watch that Clinton they were trying to find, right? The Rolex.
From Avengers. It was from Avengers compound.
Right.
So Clint said in episode 4, he said it could hurt. It could expose somebody close to me. He said that in this past episode. I don't know if you heard it.
I thought it was referring to his family.
Exactly, but I mean, at Avengers compound, like who in his family would have a watch at Avengers compound?
The watch,
you know what I'm saying?
Well,
that part it had me thinking like I don't know if it's misdirection from Clint himself, but I'm like, dang, I immediately thought it was
the truth about it though.
Yeah.
So it could be a misdirection from Clint, or it could be a misdirection from Marvel. Us getting so caught up in the significance of this watch, and then of course at the end of the day, it's not going to be anything. We've seen this play out so many times.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, man. Yeah, 2 more episodes left, but I think these next 2 episodes, like what's crazy, we haven't really been exposed to like the real villain yet, right? With 2 episodes left, like in Falcon and Winter Soldier. Well, explicitly, like we know, case in point, right there, that person is a villain. Case in point, with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, right? We knew the villain was. Yeah, we did. We did.
I'm just playing.
Loki. Well, in Loki, we really didn't know.
I did.
Anyway,
time was the villain in Loki.
Time was the villain. Time was the villain. But yeah, I think it's still going to be a lot of more twists and turns when it comes to fruition in these next 2 episodes. Anything else that jumps out to you?
I don't like the trope that they're going with though in episode 4 with we're not partners, we're not teammates, we're not anything. I don't want to ever see you again. And they go their separate ways, and then
they come back together.
In the middle of the last 2 minutes, somebody comes out of nowhere to save. Somebody's like, I told you I'd never leave you type of situation. Like, we're so tired of that little trope. Like, that was so obvious that was going to happen. It had to be something, but.
And they're going to be partners and team up anyway. And absolutely. I think that's why this episode was like kind of trying to build that last bit of camaraderie before they, have to really, really take down the big bad or whoever that may be. But excited to see how this show finishes up in the next 2 weeks. And of course, like we mentioned, Spider-Man No Way Home is going to be dropping next week. So a lot of Marvel content for you MCU heads like us. And then a little bit more Dane content, news drop for MCU fans. Kevin Feige himself said this in an interview, and this is coming from Entertainment, or EW. One of the greatest superheroes of Hell's Kitchen is returning to the Marvel Universe. And although we might not know... Well, this is what the article says. And although we might not know when that return will happen, we do know that we can expect a familiar face. Marvel Boss confirms Charlie Cox will return as Daredevil.
Boy, Tony
During an
Romo.
interview with Cinema Blend, Kevin Feige confirmed in the most Kevin Feige way possible that fans would see the character of Daredevil in future projects. More importantly, he confirmed that the actor playing Matt Murdock would indeed be Charlie Cox, who previously played the character from 2015 to 2018 on Marvel's Daredevil series. Dane, you immediately texted me and said you got to go watch the series again, which I said, is it on Netflix? And you said, I don't care where it's at. I will watch it immediately. And it is on Netflix, by the way, for those that do want to watch it. And yeah, I might have to do that ASAP, bro, because he could be coming in the next project, So when I think this was kind of a rumor that was in the air for a while, but it's cool to see that he's actually coming back, and maybe some of those other characters in that universe or from that show, Kingpin, maybe
Bring
in
me
this
Daredevil, Kingpin, Punisher, and I'm satisfied. You don't have to bring anybody else. I'm okay. You bring me those three, we good.
Yeah,
especially
right.
Kingpin, because the layers
and the actor. You mean like the actors that played them, though, right?
My bad.
John Bernthal,
and
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah, because
yeah.
D'Onofrio, he can act. I mean, he's got range. Like was it Law and Order? No,
I don't know what show you talking about back in the day. What show he was on?
I think it was Law and Order. Let me double check. Yeah, Law and Order. Law and Order. Back in the day, I mean, but yeah. So they we gonna see, and they know the fans would go crazy bringing those three back. For me, at least, or bringing those other two back. We bringing Charlie back, and that's already enough for me, because he that was Matt Murdock, like legit,
Right.
So
we know Spider-Man No Way Home is going to be a multiverse movie, and low key explore the multiverse, and we know like this is the part of the MCU that we're in now, and on that level, so it's easy to bring back old characters. It's easy to bring back old people that we're familiar with and merge kind of everything that we've seen thus far and make it one, not continuous timeline, but like a web where everything is, no pun intended, where everything is kind of connected in a sense. So excited definitely for this news that Charlie Cox is Daredevil. And I think Dane will continue to see I think he'll continue to, when I say he, Kevin Feige, continue to drop these pieces.
Trinkets.
Well, yeah. He's coming back. He's coming back. They're coming back. And so, yeah, man, excited to check out episodes 5 and 6 of Hawkeye, and of course, Spider-Man No Way Home. And Dane, episode 69 in the books. Anything you want to say before we get out of here?
No, man. Appreciate y'all for rocking with us, man. Like, it really means a lot, just to have not only a loyal fan base like this, but our day ones. We have relatives, close friends, people that we do life with that actively participate by listening in this podcast and watching it. So that, of course, that means the world, bro. We can't say enough to the ladies and the men that watch our content and support us. So shout out to y'all. Shout out to Deonte. And yeah, man, I like sports, and that's it.
I like sports, and that's it. They made fun of him. But no, Dane, you hit it right on the head there, man. Appreciate everybody that's rocking with us. Day ones, day 50s, day 100s. Rocking with us since the trailer to episode 69 we're now on. Dang, we about to be in the 70s, man. That's crazy.
Thanks.
2 years in this thing, and wouldn't want to do it with anyone else, man. So I appreciate you like always.
So what now?
Episode 60. I said I appreciate you like always.
Oh, I thought you said something else before that. My bad, man.
Oh, man. Episode 69 of the Duo Sports and Stuff podcast. If you're watching, thank you, YouTube. Thank you for watching us. If you're listening on Apple, Spotify,
Apple,
Google Podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all that stuff, We appreciate you. Deonte Epps, Dane Beasley, the duo. We are.
The duo. The duo. The duo.